What's going on, Port fans? Welcome back to another video on my channel. Today we're going to be going through the 2004 preliminary final, and a specific performance I wanted to focus on today was Roger James' performance in that game. It was an absolutely sensational night back 17 years ago now, an absolutely incredible night for the football club, getting their first berth into an AFL Grand Final. And to celebrate preliminary final week this week, Port Adelaide taking on the Western Bulldogs, I thought, why not look at the night and look at the specific performance Roger James put in, because he was one of the stars of the show and willingly put us into a grand final with some star performances alongside him, but he was the standout. So let's get straight into it and let's have a look at his performance against St Kilda in the 2004 preliminary final. It was an incredible night. No words can describe the feelings that Port fans at Amy Stadium that night were feeling. I can only imagine what it would have been like to be there. I was only 8 years old at the time. I remember sitting in the lounge room watching that game and just being on the edge of my seat. I remember Dad walking out in and out of the house. You know, he couldn't handle the stress, and it was just such an emotional roller coaster throughout the night, and to eventually win the game by a goal thanks to Gavin Wanganeen's superb 45-metre snap, which is one of the greatest Port Adelaide goals ever.
And Noble wins again, but to Wanganeen, who kicked a goal earlier in the quarter. Surely there'll be a score. There is! There's a major score!
Get that berth into a grand final. It's the emotions we're going to be feeling this week. And look, it wasn't the greatest of nights in terms of all things going to plan for Port. There was certainly some stress. There was some hard work to be done, and it started pretty poorly. 2-0. Fraser Gehrig kicking his 100th goal for the year, and it was just been one of those nights where you just thought, oh boy, we're going to get upset by St Kilda. Now we're going to be chokers again in a prelim final, obviously making the last two prelims before that, and just not quite getting the job done. And to get there in 2004, it was the monkey off the back at home, a home prelim, a massive opportunity. And we started poorly, and 2-0, as I said, and eventually Fraser Gehrig's 100th goal stopped play, the momentum changed, and from then on Port Adelaide were up for the fight, and Roger James started the game superbly. I'll discuss his night in full detail, but he had 28 disposals throughout the night. He kicked one goal, one crucial goal in the second quarter. 20 of those 28 disposals were contested. He had 4 marks and 3 tackles, and just his willingness at the contest was the main thing. 20 contested possessions out of 28. He was crucial. I think at one stage, Roger James had 6 of the first 12 touches Port Adelaide had for the game, which was leading up to that mini break with Fraser Gehrig's goal. And that was telling, because no one else was able to really get a grip on the ball. Everyone's a bit fumbly. Obviously, the nerves were there, and it was just really difficult to see how it was going to pan out. And I just think Roger James' performance is one of the great Port Adelaide performances. And it started the night, as I said, 6 of those first 12 touches Port Adelaide had. He was absolutely instrumental in the contest. But the first centre bounce of the night, it was nearly knocked out by Peter Burgoyne. That first contest, first centre bounce, the ball's balled up, and the ball's coming out of the contest. Peter Burgoyne runs straight through Roger James.
It's Friday night football. It's Port Adelaide versus St Kilda for a place in the 2004 Grand Final. Brett Allen bounces the ball, and the first contest is hot, and it leaves, I think, Roger James flat on his face in the middle.
Imagine starting a night in a prelim final and nearly getting bloody knocked out. Today, that would probably be a 20-minute concussion test, and quite possibly a med sub would have to be replacing Roger James that early on if he couldn't pass the test. But thankfully, Peter Burgoyne's hip wasn't that hard, and he got hit, and he got back up, and his performance from then on was sensational. His second quarter goal was absolutely instrumental as well. It was greatly set up by Port Adelaide's forward pressure, and he took a mark 15 metres out, kicked a goal, put Port Adelaide back in front, or in fact, I think it might have been actually putting Port in front for the first time that night.
Hayes to Harvey. Hudson running for him. Treadray arriving. Makes the spoil. This could be costly. Marnie, time to line them up. James again. And he deserved to do that. Port, for the first time, lead.
And from then, as we know, it was a back and forth game. No real margin over 2 goals throughout the night. And the intensity was absolutely instrumental. And that's why Roger James' performance was so crucial, because you always need that standout. We knew St Kilda had firepower in the middle. They had firepower up forward. And Treadray up forward for Port it was instrumental as well, with 3 crucial goals across the night. Wanganeen's 2 last quarter goals were so crucial, and little bits and pieces stood out, individual moments that got Port Adelaide across the line. Stuart Drew's last quarter goal from 55. Sean Burgoyne's dive, Guerra's legs in the last minute to save Port's lead was one of the better dives you'll see. And then, throughout the night, there was one other instance I thought was actually quite crucial. I don't think anyone really picked up on, and it was Michael Wilson, who was so courageous in that last quarter. Took 2 courageous marks going back with the flight, which just set the tone. You're willing yourself to get to a grand final, and you're going to make those crazy decisions, and he did that. And the team was full of courageous people, and Roger James, his performance that night will go down in folklore as one of the best Port Adelaide performances, finals performances as well. We've seen recently, Aliir had a great game against Geelong in the qualifying final. And these performances stand out, and these are what make moments so crucial in final series, because with performances like that, you're going to go very far.
Port by a straight kick. And they are there.
Well, Port fans, just a little teaser of what's to come this week. Plenty of content. It's prelim final week. And I'm absolutely so damn excited. I've got tickets. 26,500 people are going to be at the game this week against the Western Bulldogs. So crucial, so important. Obviously it's a must-win game. There is a grand final berth at the end of it, and we know what happened in 2004. We know what happened in 2007. We know what happened in 2014 when we couldn't beat the Hawks. We know what happened in 2020 when we couldn't get over the Tigers. This is the moment now. So crucial. So let me know in the comments below what you're thinking about this week's game. Let me know what you thought about Roger James' performance. Where were you at in the prelim final of 2004? Give me your stories. We'd love to hear them. So make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're new, for plenty more Port Adelaide and AFL content for the rest of the final series. My name's Anthony, and as always, come on the pair.